Today's video is about something truly shocking, and I don't use that word lightly. The iPhone 17 leaks are not just another small Apple tweak or minor upgrade. What I'm about to share could mark one of the most dramatic shifts in Apple's iPhone design history, and it's already confirmed by reliable insiders. So sit tight, because this one is going to surprise you. I am your host Zahid. Welcome back to zaidiesTech, where we break down the biggest leaks and tech stories that everyone is talking about. Shocking, that's the only word for it, because the latest iPhone 17 leak isn't the usual slightly thinner, slightly shinier Apple story. No, this one just got confirmed, and it's something nobody, not even the leakers who usually nail these things, saw coming. It's one of those rare leaks where you stop, reread it twice, and then ask yourself, wait, Apple's actually doing this? And here's the crazy part. The surprise isn't about the cameras or the colors or even the chip inside. It's about a design shift that could change the way Apple builds iPhones for years. According to multiple reliable sources, Apple is set to debut the iPhone 17 with a radically new frame material and a re-engineered internal layout that doesn't just look different. It makes everything else about the phone work better. And yes, it's already been confirmed by insiders close enough to the supply chain that you can almost hear Tim Cook sweating over the fact it leaked early. Let's break it down. The shocking feature? Apple is reportedly using a new type of metalized composite frame, lighter than titanium, but stronger than aluminum. Think aerospace-level materials, the kind used in high-end cars or even satellites. Why does this matter? Because for years, Apple has been obsessed with making the iPhone thinner without sacrificing durability. But physics only lets you push metal so far before you hit the bend gate problem. Remember that? The new composite solves this by being both rigid and lighter, which frees up internal space and makes the phone easier to carry without making it feel fragile. And here's where it gets wild. Freeing up space inside doesn't just make the phone thinner. It gives Apple the room to rearrange the entire internal layout. The leak suggests we'll see stacked batteries, redesigned cooling, and even new antenna placements that reduce interference. So while everyone is distracted debating whether the iPhone 17 looks too much like a Pixel from the back, the real story is that Apple is re-engineering the phone like a car company doing a full chassis redesign, not just cosmetic foundational. Now, here's where I get a little sarcastic. Because if this were Samsung or Xiaomi, they'd already be running billboards that say strongest phone frame ever made with fireworks in the background. Apple, they'll casually stand on stage and say, oh, and the iPhone 17 is lighter, stronger, and more durable. That's it, 2 sentences. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, that one change is enabling everything else. Bigger sensor for the cameras, better thermal spread for the A19 chip, and more room for those rumored stacked batteries. Speaking of cameras, yes, there's another shocker here, because while the material leak stole headlines, the same sources confirmed Apple is testing a massive new ultrawide sensor upgrade for the Pro models. Not just a small tweak, but a sensor so large it could finally make low-light ultrawide shots actually look as good as your main camera. Nobody saw this coming, because Apple has historically treated the ultrawide lens like the fun lens, not the Pro lens. But if they're leveling it up this much, it's clear Apple wants every lens on the iPhone 17 Pro to be Pro-grade. So let's zoom out. Why is this shocking? Because Apple doesn't usually move this many pieces on the board at once. You usually get one headliner, new chip, new camera, new design. But here, the frame material changes the design, which changes the cooling, which enables the chip, which supports the battery, which enhances the cameras. It's like watching dominoes fall, and at the end, you're left with a phone that feels very different, even if it looks only slightly new from the outside. And this is where Android fans should start sweating, because yes, Android phones have had vapor chambers, crazy zoom lenses, and foldable screens. But Apple's power move has always been consistency. They don't win by being first. They win by making things invisible. You don't think about the cooling, or the antenna design, or the frame material. You just notice that your iPhone feels rock solid, doesn't overheat, lasts longer, and takes reliably better photos. That's the kind of quiet dominance that keeps people locked in the ecosystem. Now let's be real. Could this be overblown? Of course. We've seen Apple experiment with wild ideas before that never made it into production. Liquid metal, anyone? But the fact that this leak has been confirmed by multiple sources tied to the supply chain tells me this isn't just a prototype. This is Apple putting finishing touches on a big shift, and they're doing it in a way that feels, well, very Apple. Not loud, not flashy, just a quiet shockwave that we'll only appreciate fully once the iPhone 17 is in people's hands. So here's my question to you. Would you rather Apple chase gimmicks, foldables, 100x zoom, crazy fast charging, or keep perfecting the fundamentals in ways that don't make headlines until you actually live with the phone? Because this shocking iPhone 17 leak is a reminder that Apple plays the long game, and the long game usually wins. I'll leave you with this thought. Sometimes the biggest shocks aren't the features you see, but the foundations you don't. The iPhone 17 might just be Apple's way of rebuilding the house from the ground up while making it look like the same home you've always lived in. And when you step inside, you realize everything feels stronger, faster, and more reliable than before. That's not just shocking. That's Apple at its most dangerous. Final verdict. At the end of the day, this leak tells us one thing. Apple is not just preparing another iPhone, they are preparing a statement. By re-engineering the frame, redesigning the internals, and pushing every component to work better together, the iPhone 17 could set a new standard for what a flagship smartphone should feel like. It may not look radical on the outside, but the inside is where Apple is quietly flexing its true power. And if these changes live up to the hype, the iPhone 17 might be remembered as the model that redefined Apple's future direction. So there you have it, the shocking iPhone 17 leak that nobody saw coming. Apple might not be chasing flashy gimmicks, but if this report is true, they're quietly rewriting the rules of how an iPhone is built from the inside out. And that could change everything. What do you think? Is Apple making the right move by focusing on fundamentals instead of chasing foldables and wild features? Or do you want to see them push the limits even further? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay ahead of the curve on all the latest Apple and smartphone news, make sure to subscribe to zaidiesTech, hit the like button, and turn on notifications so you never miss a future update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.